right, so welcome, visionaries. I am here with Andrea, and I'm going to share a bit about her experience with Rave Cosmology, with her own journey through this process, and a little bit about her human design knowledge and experience. And so we're just going to have a conversation about this Rave Cosmology. And so tell us a little bit about how you got brought to human design, and she's a beautiful projector. So how you found out you were a projector and anything that brought you to this moment of exploration of Rave Cosmology.
Yeah, definitely. So what led me to human design was really just on a journey to heal myself. I was struggling with anxiety, really is kind of where it all happened. And it just led me to a journey to kind of figure out why I was feeling that way, and just like a lot of self-help type of things. And then so I think I was in a lot of different groups where they're like kind of spiritually based and stuff. And then something came up about human design. I looked at it and I kind of put it to the side. I was like, that sounds right, but I wasn't ready for it then. Then it just kept popping up everywhere. I mean, I couldn't, and it's like it's not a common thing really, so it was all, and then I was like, okay, I'll do this. And finding out I was a projector, I mean, it changed my life, just made me understand why I felt resistance in different areas that I did and whatnot. So yeah, and then to Rave Cosmology, that just seemed like such crazy timing too, just with different things that were coming through for me at the same time that I came across Rave Cosmology, a lot of spiritual different connections of things. And it happened I just feel like it was fate that I was in this course. Really, it was just almost presented to me like, here, this is what you need, to do.
I love that. So for those of you listening who don't know, so human design it's about the aura mechanics, and it was brought forward in a very practical way. Like, you experiment with this. If it works for you, great. It's very practical, not so spiritual. But Uru Hu, the founder of human design, he really had an incredible spiritual experience in order to download this information. And he doesn't leave it in a lot of his teachings. He leaves it out. But in Rave Cosmology, he goes through his encounter, and he goes through the non-physical, the angels, the demons, the ghosts, the gods, the entities, and the aliens. And so this is part of the Rave Cosmology, which was a course that we've been going through with this incredible, unbelievable, incredible group. And everyone brought not just their human design knowledge, but their own spiritual experiences to go through this sort of mystical ride that we've been on. We're still in the middle of.
Yeah.
But share a little bit about your journey with that with us.
It's really been like the most profound journey I feel like that I've been on. Just with, there is so much conditioning with kind of how we process things and different triggers that can ignite things within us. And it just gave so much validation to some of the things that I have experienced, whether, it's with angels, aliens, whatever it may be. It almost gave me like a map to process what I was receiving.
Yes.
Which is hard to find. I don't think there's another system that could give you that.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that is the crazy thing, because we're so conditioned around religion, around the gods, around what kind of belief we're supposed to have and how do we work within that belief. And Rave Cosmology basically like turns all of that upside down.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really mind-blowing information to me.
Yeah. So what was some of your experience that sort of like through this your own personal spiritual awakening, through some of your own experiences, like how did you sort of work through this inside of your own experience?
So, I mean, I would say an encounter that I had to begin with where it just kind of made me believe that there was like much. I mean, I always believed it, but then I was like, I've never like felt it
Yep.
like that. And just having a pretty profound moment with what I would say would be like a guardian angel, spirit guide type of figure that kind of just put me in, I guess, the Rave Cosmology type of area to look into, because that was pretty intense. But then, I mean, whenever, literally at the beginning of this course, the next day was, I had an encounter with like telepathic communication with the alien. And so that, I feel like, was the connection to this, because it was something that's open. And even if we don't all take in like what an alien is the same way, I mean, because it is, how we perceive it, in our conditioning, which makes us get the information or experience these things in different ways. I think that was probably the reason why I was supposed to experience this course, because it really did give me a whole new understanding, and it made me realize, like, okay, well, I'm not the only one that's experiencing these things. And to have a container of other people that they're not, they're like, I've had similar things happen, and they're totally open to hearing it too. And just the intel that you brought in to help process that is just, I mean, incredible.
Yeah. So we're gonna get a little woo, everybody who's listening. So Ra's encounter was incredibly mystical and spiritual, and what he did was he broke down the places in his chart that triggered a chemical awakening for an encounter. An encounter, what we're referring to, is a spiritual experience where it's not anything that can really be explained logically, and it taps us into the non-physical. And then what Rave Cosmology is saying is that when you tap into those experiences, first of all, you can see it in your chart. And second of all, what it's doing, it's bringing forward a higher wisdom. And the higher wisdom is coming through each person's vehicle in a way for them to educate and share with the world. So, like, for example, Ra brought forward human design, and it was through the mystical experience with what he called the voice, which in his human design chart is an entity. And although he doesn't talk about it in that way, he talks about the education. And so what Andrea is bringing forward is her own experience of the other world and how she sort of was able to bring it through. And I think that it's like one of those hard things to really share with most people, and it's really hard to really talk about, to put words to, and to show it in a chart. It's very, like you said, very life affirming.
It is, totally.
Yeah. And so what has that done for your sort of your knowledge base, like how you're bringing forward human design, how you're bringing forward, your knowledge, like how is this kind of shaped what you now know, like your knowledge, what's coming forward for you in that area?
Well, one thing that has helped me in a huge way is just keeping in mind that there can be things from our childhood and everything like that that makes us feel things or receive downloads information in a certain way. I feel like that's huge, and I feel like that will be something that I will be helping other people with in the future, just to kind of, people that have had triggers. And a lot of times people will put it off as like a mental illness or something like that. I really think a lot of what I will do is to help people that have had spiritual experiences and try to navigate through that. I feel like that is something I'm supposed to do in this world, and I feel like this information is what's going to help me do that. But even just being open to receiving what the universe is giving to me, really, and not just being like, okay, you're crazy, like, not like,
Yep.
not just completely disregarding it, because there's so much good. I mean, it's like healing and enlightening, and it's filled with love. So it's like, I know that if it's filled with love, there's something in it for me and probably for somebody else too.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love what you're saying. It's so important because the mystical and the non-physical people sometimes see as, oh, that's crazy. And
Mhm.
it's so important when people are young and when you first have those experiences, the first person that you have the courage to tell, that you're encouraged to speak up about it as opposed to shut down and told you're crazy. And I think so many of our mental hospitals and also the drugs that people are on could be alleviated if we were able to like serve humanity in this way and open the door to like, no, 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 no. You're not crazy. Like this
Right.
is right.
Totally. No, I couldn't agree. I think that is so, I mean, and maybe that's not what everybody is in in rave cosmology for. It can definitely, and it's very personal too. There's so much where it's so personal that it won't ever be things that I need to share with anybody else. It's just like for my processing and understanding things, but it's like, I really truly believe that a lot of it is I will be using this to help other people that have experienced different things and didn't have either, whether it's the mindset to try to grasp it or to have other people to talk to about it that would accept it. So I feel like that is, there's so much value in it. It really is. I know it can seem a little woo and stuff, but it's like, it really is way deeper than what you can even imagine.
It really is. And I absolutely agree that, the more that we realize how conditioned we are around our belief and how, when we say conditioned, what that means is that we don't necessarily think outside of the box around our experiences with, let's say, for example, God is like the biggest one.
Right.
And so many people are sort of repressing also how they see God and what their interpretation is of God. And there's sort of like this veil around people actually knowing what is possible in our connection as opposed to just what they were taught to believe, you know?
Yeah, totally. I mean, just, and I can see good in religion and whatnot. There's a lot of things in different religions that I do connect with, but there's a lot of conditioning in religion, in a lot of different senses. But I mean, it even kind of like strengthens some of my faith though too, in a weird way. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. And that's exactly it. It's like what part of the religion is true for you? What part is not?
Right.
And are you willing to explore the differences?
And understanding why other people in religious positions may be acting how they do, and to
Yes.
maybe not make that be the whole message for all of us.
Exactly. It helps you to see like how people are processing the information they've been given so that you
Mhm.
can then make a choice about what you're seeing, what information you're getting, and what part of religion is true for you, and what part you want to continue on, and what part you want to make as part of your own personal worship. And it's a
Yes.
really big question because, the more we see the religion structures dismantling a bit and people not really knowing what religion to trust, what religion, they we can put value in and put faith in. Um, it's going to bring up everybody's question as far as like what part of religion is important for me, why am I believing this religion? What are all the other religions doing? And then how do we have honor for everyone's belief systems?
Yes, that's so, yeah, I think having that honor for other, It's so huge. If we could
Huge.
just really do that, I feel like so many things could be solved.
Yeah, so huge. I mean, look at
Yeah.
all the all the wars based in religion, and my God's better than your God, and all of these things. These are all this is the contemplation, is where are the gods being held over your head? Where are you really connecting to God? Is God real for you, or is it something that you were contrived by your conditioning? And so these are all of the contemplations and the questions. And then also when people have a true mystical experience, then they're deemed as the crazies,
Right.
right? Yeah, yeah, so powerful. Yeah, I
Which was
really
great
love.
for this class because I never had been able to share some of the things that I had experienced, because I was like, I don't think some people can't process things like that, and that's okay. They're not supposed to. And so it's just really nice to have a space where you could share, and it was totally not, it was just like filled with love and acceptance, and just able to see it and you helping me to understand things. I mean, it really was just like a map out of me being able to get what's coming through, and why I process it the way that I do, and what I can let go of, and what really holds true to me. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's really so important when your mystical experiences are heard and valued, because it opens the door for you to lead the way as a visionary and as a mystic. And as we know right now, this is the direction of the era of the individual, the mystic, and stepping into spiritual expression. And what is included in that is those of us willing and able to have these types of encounters and experiences, to be able to have the courage to speak about them and bring through all the knowledge that is life changing, that comes through when someone has the courage to share their mystical experiences, and they're not outcasts or burned at the stake,
Absolutely.
right?
Right. Yeah. And having the knowledge makes it, for me, anyways, having that knowledge helps me feel more confident when I am speaking about it, and it also allows me to not take things personal if I don't agree with what someone's saying, and not have to make it an argument or something like that. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and your experience. I've been blown away. I feel very connected to you. I've been blown away by our similar experience with the blue beings.
Yes.
And I have just, I love the journey, and I love everything that you've shared. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you feel like you want to discuss in a little more depth?
Um, I mean, I'm open to discussing anything, but I mean,
You
there's
want
nothing
to
that I
share
wouldn't share.
Do you want to share just a little bit about the blue beings?
Absolutely, yeah, I'm totally. So, well, one, the blue beings have been a big theme, I feel like, for
For
all
our
of us,
class.
really, which
Yep.
is so crazy.
Crazy.
It
Yeah.
just is. Do you want me to share like how I experienced it
Yeah.
personally? Okay,
Yes.
sure. So, I'm just gonna tell it just like I told you
Yeah.
guys, basically. So I'm just sitting in my room. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. It was middle of the week, in the middle of the day, nothing going on. I do tarot readings for a living, and I was just shuffling my tarot cards. So that's something that I do, well, every day, a million times a day. And then all of a sudden, I just felt this buzzing sensation in my body, complete. And I meditate, I get that buzzing, but I mean, this was very powerful. And then something just told me, okay, you're just supposed to hold these in your hand right now, I guess. And then I could see it wasn't in physical form. I guess it was more like I clairvoyantly saw and had like telepathic or clairaudient. I'm really not sure. I don't know how to break that down always. But it was just a blue extraterrestrial. It's an Arcturian coming through with a message, and it was so on point to just one, it was so love filled, and just basically a big message was to use discernment with where I was getting information from. And at that time, I realized I was getting information from somebody that I really don't think was authentic, which made me like step away from that. And it was just so much like, they are here, they can help us. I mean, they really want, I mean, they want the world to be a better place. It was so love filled, like, we're assisting you, or you know, there's a journey that you're on, and it is going to be to spread love and healing throughout the world. And basically, like, we're going to help you. It was the most vivid thing, though. I've drawn the picture, I've painted the picture of what I saw. It was the most vivid image there. And like I said, we went over things where it's like, who knows if this is right, or it's just how I perceive it. But I'm like, anybody could tell me it, and I'm like, I know what happened so vividly and so clearly that nobody could really tell me otherwise, where I would believe that that wasn't the case. But it was so beautiful, and I've definitely had more connections since then, and it has gotten stronger throughout the class, which I love. And it's just, I love it. It's so much fun. I don't even know always how to express fully what came through, because it was just so, I mean, it was powerful to me. I was just like, you know, like afterwards, I'm just like looking around like, what just like, am I the only one that's seeing this right now? What is going on? You know, but it's incredible.
Yeah, so if you guys felt that, it was like you could feel the frequency as she was sharing of the energetics. And one of the things that I love that you said when Ra talked about the voice, he said he always explained it as a voice, but he didn't know if it was clairaudient or if he was experiencing it in the physical, because it was all, every sense was like becoming alive and heightened, and then information was coming through. And the reason why these types of experiences are so important to share and talk about is, like Andrea said, hers have now increased and intensified, and the information is getting more clear. And then other people in the class, including myself, had similar experiences with blue energy, blue beings, blue light beings, and blue frequency. And then it allowed other people to be like, oh my God, that was real. And now I can really lean into it more. And what you're leaning into and what you're feeling is the shift of vibration, the shift of, and what Ra calls it is a chemical change. It's like there's a chemical change in the body where it's all of a sudden there's a heightened awareness and frequency shifts, and all of a sudden the wisdom comes through. And so it's really dynamic to feel that energy. So I hope everybody listening got to feel that. And thank you so much for sharing. Like I feel the beauty in your share and the energy. And again, it touches my heart so much, just because I feel like we shared in that frequency together.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, it's so,
That's what like led me to you too, honestly. I mean, I showed you my notebook. It's literally, I have, because I wrote, after the fact, I wrote it down to try to remember like everything, you know. And then the next page is the first time that I've ever heard of Rave Cosmology. It says Raquel and Davidian on the top of my page. I mean, they're right next to each other, side by side. It was, I mean, I don't know. It's just a weird it's not a coincidence. It
the beauty of the
clearly was.
synchronicity. That's
Yes.
so intense. I love that. And this is another thing that happens like every single class is we have these like pop synchronicities. Like, so everyone's from all over the world tuning in, we're coming together, and then all over the world, somebody's having like their waitress is wearing the I am a mystic t-shirt, right? When we're going down the mystical path, and like everybody's having these synchronistics. And the thing about the blue beings and why we're just enjoying the energy of it is there was another woman who was getting the Krishna, the god Krishna, and Krishna's blue. And then I had 17 blue beings come through on my birthday. Andrea had it the day before she was brought to Rave Cosmology. So we've had these, like, there's all of these synchronicities with life, with experiences, with the multidimensional. Of course, you know, a lot of people see multidimensional extraterrestrial beings, which is part of the class, is going through the alien energy as blue. And some of the things that I've heard are the highest dimensional beings are blue. And so it's one of those things that if you guys are listening in, if anyone has any blue being experiences, we want to hear from you. Share with us, because when you open the door and you allow this to come through, then all of us can open the doors to more mystical, to more experiences, and to bringing forward more education. And if you want to know the value of the education, just look at human design. Like, this intel is so life-changing, and so, like, and it's volumes and volumes of information that came through. So thank you so much for your beautiful share.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for creating a space where we could go on this journey, because it's brought me so much that I can't even explain.
And thank you so much for sharing Davidian's t-shirt.
Oh yes, I love it. It says first things first. Show me your chart.
That's our favorite tee.
I love this. I'm like, it's the best. You just walk around and then maybe somebody will bring it up to you.
Yeah, as you can tell, we're a little obsessed with human design, everyone. We're a little obsessed. Well, and we're both projectors, and so getting and seeing and being recognized and being recognized for our uniqueness is just a huge part of the path. And so it's been like the greatest joy and honor to share the journey with you. So thank you so much. And thank you for sharing. It's just so great to hear your experiences and to hear it like coming through with such clarity and wisdom. And I cannot wait to see this next level of your work with human design and with how you're going to integrate all of it. I know you're already channeling, like I know you're already pulling through healing for people. So I can't wait to see the next level and incarnation of your work.
Yes, well, thank you helping me on that path, because this has helped to bring that in fully.
Yep, totally my honor. Mwah. I love you, and thank you everybody for tuning in.